Happy Friday, spooky friends. We're so glad you could join us for our weekly true crime cult meeting.
But don't worry, we're not into any of that sleep deprivation or diet control stuff. You've landed in the only cult with unlimited naps and snacks.
In case you're just discovering the show, allow us to introduce ourselves. I'm Aurora, and I'm here with the log lady herself, Angelina.
And we are joined today by none other than the hosts of True Crime and Spooky Time podcast, Bloodbath, Ashley and Jamie. Welcome, Ashley and Jamie.
Hi.
How's it going?
Hi. Thank you so much for having us. It's going great. How about you guys?
Well, we're just glad to have you.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're so happy. And we all met years ago at the PNW True Crime Festival near Seattle, which was like so fun. But we'd also kind of like known each other for years before that.
Yep. Definitely.
The power of a podcast to bring people together. There's so many true crime podcasts out there. And instead of us all just like, I don't know, standing on our own and ignoring each other and trying to compete. It's way more fun to build a community out of it.
We don't
need lots of friends in that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's our own little pocket in the corner of little true crime with people.
Yes. Like the weirdest people you'll ever meet.
The best people.
That's why I'm here.
That is amazing. It's very true.
Yeah.
But like in a good way. The good weird.
Yeah.
So,
Not the other people where it wind up on the other side of the podcast.
Yeah,
not
right.
when we're talking about them. We don't make friends with those ones.
well, the two of you have been best friends for over 17 years and podcasting together for 4 years. How did the two of you meet and what inspired you to start a true crime podcast together?
So we met when we were 13 in Lomita, California. And
wow.
I'm 31 now. She's still 30 for now. We were neighbors. So my apartment building was like behind her house, but we shared like a driveway. And there was one day she was moving in and I walked by her and I was like, "Are you moving in?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I was like, "Hey, cool."
Best friends ever
And I
since.
went on my way. And then I was out like skateboarding with a boyfriend at the time, and I fell on my ass, and I heard a giggle from a yard, from her yard. And her mom was planting flowers, gardening. She was doing something.
She was just going through the garden,
with a fluorescent pink, very 80s shirt, and the rest was history. I just started kind of walking into her house, and I was like, "You're my friend now." Honestly, I don't even know after that.
Kids.
It just kind of happened and it didn't go away. We didn't go to school together. We nothing. She was in Catholic school. I was at a school called Narbonne. It was so opposite spectrums. But here we are, 17 years later. True crime. It's kind of funny. So I was doing body painting, and I still do, but not nearly as much. So I needed something that my ADHD wouldn't get sidetracked by. So no more YouTube, no more shows. I found, and that's why we drink. Because I've been hearing about podcasts. I was like, okay, I could try this out. But I was actually looking for something spooky. I didn't even know the true crime genre of podcasting yet. And I found it. That's why we drink, and then you get the best of both worlds. And then I started realizing I was looking more forward to Christine's episode or part with the true crime. So then I found Morbid, and Morbid just took me over. I was like, I could do this. We could do this. But then I was working at David's Bridal, and a bunch of the girls there also liked Morbid as well. So whenever we were closing down, we would just have it playing on blast, while we're arranging wedding dresses and getting the mirrors all cleaned. We just have murder in the background and
perfect vibe for weddings.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the husband did it.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I always said too, it was such a good combination of doing true crime and then going and people being in love. It was a good little mixture, But
well
balanced.
Not going to end well.
They were kind of joking, and they were like, "What if we made our own podcast?" It was two other girls, and I was like, "I'm down. I'm super down." So I remember I got into my Jeep and I'm driving home and I call Jamie and I'm like telling her and she gets a little quiet. She's like, oh, that's a good idea. And I was like, you have something else to say? I was like, it's not like you'd want to do it because this bitch does not do spooky. She doesn't do spooky. She doesn't do true crime. Nothing scary.
Oh.
She's not
interesting.
Like, we are complete opposites. And
wow.
She was like, well, I would do it with you.
Aww.
So, Jamie, what made you interested if that wasn't quite your thing?
So, yeah, like I tried to get into the true crime thing. I tried to listen to, what is it called? What's the one with the Ashley Flowers? Crime Junkie.
Oh, God, one. Yeah.
And it just got so, like, she was killed and this is Ashley. It was, like, so intense. I was like, okay, I can't listen to this. I can't do true crime. And I never watch scary movies unless I'm forced to. So I was just, like, not into that. But, so I grew up with my brother. He's mentally disabled. He's schizophrenic. So I had a lot of background and upbringing in psychology and understanding psychology and living with it and seeing the stigmas that were around it. Because, you know, like, everyone's like, oh, he's a schizo. You know, they think automatically they want to murder people, but, like, that's not the truth. 11% of the population has schizophrenia. Like, you know, like, that's
and most of them live perfectly normal lives.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was like, I was excited when she started talking about starting a true crime podcast, because I thought, well, why not bring psychology into it and talk about nurture versus nature, or try to understand why people tick. You know, that's what gets my wheels turning.
That really is fascinating.
The tick of it all, not so much the murder part, because I have severe anxiety about that kind of stuff. I can't watch scary movies without having a panic attack. Like, I am the worst, like, spooky time friend. I'm a summer girly for sure.
We only get one movie a year, and that's during Halloween, and we get one.
Yeah,
but we in return have watch something that we don't want to do, like me and her other best friend. So,
how about like spoopy movies, like Addams Family and things like that?
Yeah, those are fun. Those are, like, I love, you know, Disney.
You just don't want it scary.
Like Cabin in the Woods.
It's going to make me jump. Yeah, like, Quiet Place was cool, but scary.
Almost
too much. And, like, almost too much. Paranormal Activity, way too much. Can't do it. Like,
that one is scary.
I can't do, which one did I have a panic attack in the movie theater? Because I went with her and my ex and, like, her ex, and we were all teenagers.
Was it the one where I said, that's not normal?
Yes, that one.
I don't remember what it's called, but I know the movie. I can see it. It's the one where, like, that mailman looking thing comes out and then he, like, completely stretches his limbs really big and his mouth comes open really large. Yeah.
It had a lot of, like, that kind of stuff, like the head turning upside down. And
I feel like I know what you're talking about with the imagery, but I can't think what that would be. I feel like Angelina should know this.
It like sounds like, well, like the head turning upside down and being really tall thing, like, it reminds me of that Smile, but it wouldn't be that.
That was a good one.
Recent.
I was actually spooked on that one for a moment, and then it lost me in the end. It became comical.
The end was a little loosey-goosey, but in all, like, overall, I thought that movie was so fantastic. I screamed, like, twice, talk about, like, jump scares. I screamed twice during the movie, like, just, like, legitimate, like, oh my God, what's happening? And the first time I screamed, there were, like, two people sitting next to me in the row, and they got up and, like, were walking out. And I was like, oh my God, like, this movie's so scary, they can't handle it. But then they moved 3 rows in front of me. They left because I was screaming.
They can't handle you.
I was so embarrassed, but I couldn't help it.
I
think people should expect that. That's why I go to the theater for horror movies, because I like to hear people screaming. It's fun.
It's almost adding to the ambience.
Yes, absolutely.
And then when you're scared
it's like
together,
you're screaming and laughing, and you know, it's a good time. So obviously, I mean, Jamie doesn't have one of these, aside from being, you know, intrigued by the psychology, but Ashley, do you have like a story that you'd call like your true crime origin, like a murder in your hometown, a story that always haunted you, something that just like a case that pulled you in the first place?
I really don't. And that's so, like, I feel like odd. I just... What? Am I
Is she lying?
Jamie says otherwise.
I'm saying... The one that's always plagued her and like she's talked about even before true crime was the Delphi murders.
Oh yeah, the Delphi murders.
That's a good one.
Because I am originally from Indiana. I do like that would definitely pop up in my head. I think because that got figured out, it's kind of just been out of my head for a while.
Yeah.
That's good. It's nice to be able to let go of it a little.
Yeah, but
and that's one I was following for a while. Do we know where that case stands?
Oh, he's in jail.
They found the guy, right?
I know that they found him, but like, is he going to try? I think he was actually charged with the murder.
Yeah, I think he was convicted.
Yeah, definitely. I think when
I was in a group for that, but it was so argumentative. I had to had to block it. It was way too much. But
and then there's like the possibility of him not being the one. Like it's so much to follow a case online because you just get so much information from so many different places, and a lot of times it's not the same, and you're like, wait, but I thought he was tried. Like, what the hell's happening? But when I think true crime though, like my biggest one, I call it my Bailey Sarian moment because like Bailey Sarian started Murder Mystery Makeup with Chris Watts. Is Gabby Petito. Like the Gabby Petito case is the first and only case besides Idaho 4 that from day one, like before it was even really mainstream and like things were just kind of like talking like on YouTube and like in TikTok and whatnot. I was on that. Yeah. I remember grocery shopping and having my phone in the cart and watching like for that officer that was going to come on and like give us updates and whatnot and like all that stuff. Like I would actually live stream it.
Do you feel like you knew right from the start? Like, did you have a feeling where you're like,
bad. I was hoping so bad that I was wrong, that somehow he would be somewhere, but it obviously came to what it did. But I obviously it's Brian Laundrie, but I blame the whole Laundrie's family. Like that is just a shitty,
100%
disgusting family.
Well, especially, I mean, he came home and then was.
They fully helped him. They wrote him a letter that was like, "We will help you hide a body," and then at the very bottom it says "Burn once read." Like they should be locked fuck up.
Yeah, you should get in trouble for that 100%.
He literally
That's created room for this
to like deviate the cops to like make it look like it was him.
Yeah,
they should be.
Yeah, that is some weird shit for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, did you ask shows too?
So no. Oh yeah. No, go ahead.
Sorry. I was just reading it. But
let's hear about the shows.
Body Cam. Body Cam, oh my god. Love it. Have you seen any episodes of Body Cam? Oh my god. Anytime a new season comes out.
I haven't seen episodes of Body Cam, but I love Body Cam footage.
Oh my god. There's so many seasons. You got a binge-worthy show now. So good. And
what's it on?
Okay.
ID Discovery, Discovery Plus, and HBO Max.
Okay.
Yeah, and then as well on their Evil Lives Here is really great too. That's great for podcasting as well and like finding cases, especially when I don't really feel like reading.
Nice.
Put that on and I just take notes as it goes.
Yeah. That's also my research style.
Yeah.
Watching TV.
Yeah.
I'm already doing it.
Right?
Right.
So not long after starting your podcast, you faced a major hurdle when comedians Esther Povitsky, Kalila Kuhn, and Annie Lederman decided to start a podcast also using the name Bloodbath Girls. Being in the comedy space, they had a following almost immediately, and that threatened your brand for obvious reasons. Can you tell us how you found out they were using your name?
Firstly, just real quick, it wasn't a lawsuit, just so that we're like all clear and like listeners too. It was a cease and desist that did happen to work.
I see.
But we found out because we got an DM. Do you remember, Jamie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we got a DM of some girl who like didn't even follow us, and she was like, "Hey, have you heard of this other podcast that's also using your name?" And I was like, "No, okay." So we looked into it, and then we reached out. We sent them a DM, and we were like, you know, we want to figure out. We still have them, but we were like, we want to figure out how we can use the same name, but like make sure it's different, so that listeners and people don't get confused. But also at the same time, like we were so kicked off Google, like it's not even funny. Like we were page like 6 after that.
Wow.
Take it away, Jamie.
Which we originally were the first page. But
yeah.
Wow.
So they then said, oh, hey, yeah, we saw your guys' name when we first looked it up. And they're like, but we thought of this first back in 2019. And when we did look it up, then there wasn't anybody named Bloodbath. But then when we looked it up the second time, when we decided to go forward with it, we saw you guys. But since you're true crime, there wouldn't be any crossover. And we said, well, it's kind of like a comedy true crime because we try to find the light in and like the happiness in life because everybody's got dead people, tried to like explain that it kind of would be stepping on us. Plus you're a podcast.
Well, the fact that it's a podcast at all. Yeah.
There were nobody.
You Google like, Bloodbath podcast. Yeah. That's what you would do.
Exactly. Right. And they didn't seem to understand that. And then of course in their first episode, they talk about, DB Cooper. I was like, you can't just like say we're not true crime and then immediately talk about true crime.
You start with that.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, and so it was a lot of stepping on toes and we were like trying to be really nice about it and like, please, like we were here first, just do the right thing, maybe don't take it from the little guy, the underdog.
And the best part too, like with the Bloodbath name, is we were sitting in my Jeep one day when we were trying to figure out the name, and we were just spitballing names. Like we weren't trying to like make a name, we were just trying to like spitball ideas. And Jamie said Bloodbath, and it was like a light bulb. Like it just clicked, and it was like, oh, that's it. Like done. Simple. It's a BB. Like it's done. BBP.
Yeah.
So it was like we didn't want to give it up and just let them have it. Like we're nobodies trying to make us into somebodies, and we're not going to let people who
and what you build so far, you don't want to let that go right away.
Yeah. Like it was like our early little infant little baby, and it was already about to get taken away from us, and we were like, no.
Yeah, can you just tell us what happened next in your pursuit to preserve your brand?
Yeah, so I kind of have it.
Well, after, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're okay. You're okay. I kind of have it like chronological, where I went from CrimeCon, Affirmative Murder. I have slight regrets of making a video that we did make, and then we took a break. What were you thinking, Jamie? No? Okay. Got it. Okay, so we went to CrimeCon like shortly after it and had just the best time. It was really good because obviously we were going through all that shit, and we were low-key really nervous because of the amount of death threats and like all the shit that we got from that. But thank God not a singular person knew us. Like never been so happy for people not to know us. But there was there was a podcast. There is a podcast called Affirmative Murder. It's hosted by Alvin and Francel.
They're the best.
They're the best. And he just said Alvin's gonna have a baby soon. It's so cute. Oh my god. But
it's so sweet.
No, they had actually put out an episode like shortly after Trash Tuesday demolished us on YouTube, and they mentioned it, and they were like, we would be willing to like talk with us, like the girls, like us, and kind of hear both sides, because they were more so on their side, but they were very open to still hearing us. And what really got me is Alvin says something along the lines of like, we don't want to see people's like passion get kicked out by other people. Like if you're going to stop podcasting, you'd want it to be your own decision, not by other people.
Yeah.
They just made us feel really safe. So we DM'd them, and we ended up going over there to their booth at CrimeCon, and they interviewed us. It's still up on their channel as well. And it was a really nice conversation. And then we took a year break because of me. I couldn't handle it. Like I got put on Zoloft. Like I couldn't handle, I'm not built for internet hate. I'm a little more so now, but like I am not, I'm not built for it.
I get it.
Internet hate is weird. It's like really nonsensical sometimes, because like people will say just contradictory things that make no sense, and you're like, I don't understand why you're on this side or what your true feelings are. Like even I saw some of the stuff about you guys and your situation on like Reddit, and like people just being like, like, we were there first. What a ridiculous thing to say. And it's like, what do you mean? That's kind of how things work, isn't
it? The law works. Like,
the best part too is like after all that, and like people, because then we LLC'd, we trademarked, we did everything that we possibly could to make sure we would keep our name. Like we always had that in the make. Like we were gonna do that, but it definitely put us a lot faster. But like, I forgot what I was gonna say. It's gone.
No worries. I mean, if you guys wanted like a taste of what the hate sounded like.
Yeah, let's have it.
Absolutely.
Wait, but my favorite one.
So, yeah, this is a plane I've flown. Okay.
Okay.
It's on my Instagram. I've never deleted the comments. I don't care about internet hate. No problem. They came after my mom, which was that was crossing the line. You can come after me all day. I don't care.
Fucking psycho.
But this man said, if I was fueling your PC-12, I wouldn't put anti-ice in it like you asked, so your plane would fall from the sky from frozen lines.
Whoa.
Over a podcast name, bro.
Whoa.
Yep. And that was the moment our lawyer told us that we needed to file a police report. And like, we went and did it, and like we immediately we tell the cop, we're like, we know you can't actually do anything. Like, we're not being delusional here, but our lawyer he was so nice. He was so cool.
That's good.
We did like
and we had actually like met. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, sorry. We did make that video where because like our listeners wanted to know, you know, what the fuck happened, and we were like, fuck it, let's put out a thing that was literally so raw and like straight to the facts. And we even like mentioned how, because we told their producer that they could have our name for $100,000. As in like, go fuck yourself. No, as in like, that's never gonna happen. You're comedians, you should understand a joke in its sarcasm. But I think they did understand that as sarcasm, but they still used it to fuel the fire under their subscribers. And they fucking took that and ran.
Wow. Yeah, that's very silly.
Yeah, and when we had first met each other, like through this, I think I'd maybe heard about what was going on through Affirmative Murder. I can't remember, but we had interviewed you for our website, and I had like sort of like looked at what was going on, and you guys had like overnight like 1,000 1-star reviews on your podcast, and which I think may have ended up working to your favor. Like a review on Apple Podcasts. I might have pushed it up.
I don't think at all. Like we're still at 2.7.
Awful fans. Yeah. But so all of that was going on, and like watching it unfold at the time, it honestly felt like an I Survived episode with harassment from everyone. And like, you're just in this big like legal battle and this fan battle and whatever. And so now that you've come out on the other side, you headlined the PNW True Crime Fest where we both met, or all of us met. I think you guys had like a main stage. Yeah,
we did. And we were so like, why?
I was like so rooting for it. You guys were great. We loved hearing you. And you also recently interviewed with Gil Carrillo, which is amazing. So how does it feel to be on the other side of the chaos?
Talk, bitch.
Oh, okay. All right. I mean, I literally, like, I have Gil Carrillo's business card right here. How cool is that? It honestly, it feels, to put it in a true crime term, justified. It feels like, damn right. Like, we knew what we were doing, and I'm glad we stuck with it. I'm glad we didn't give in to any of the hate or any of the, you know, the pressure to just give them the name. They have 100,000 followers overnight. They're way bigger than you. They're the, you know, like they're never going to stop. And it just kind of felt like, you know, being the underdog. And then we kind of just like, we still made it. We got there. We fought our way through. We Rockied our way into it. You know?
Oh yeah.
And nothing good comes easy, right? So we had to have our tough times, and we went through it together, and we stuck through it. Even though with the time off, I think we even flourished from that because we were able to find our groove, and we were able to see what worked and what didn't, and see how also, like, I think Ashley got a deeper sense of the psychology of things.
Yeah.
And I've gotten more into the true crime of things, so we're able to kind of mesh and work together better.
Yeah,
from it.
definitely.
I totally get that. We also, took a little break and then sort of came back with a regroup, and that can be really effective because when things just pick up as you're starting and you just run with it, like you can sort of lose the point of what you're doing or what you find interesting about it or what you don't like about it, and it's good to check in with that. So
yeah.
I definitely like that
made a
year
good call.
break.
It sounds like.
It's funny because I've just become a Swiftie. Okay, I'm in my infancy stage of Swiftyism. Okay, but like during that break, it was like our other best friend Katie. She's all with the lore, right? And like this bitch she was taken off the internet. Like she was internet trolled away, and then came back and was like, you know what, fuck you, and I'm gonna do my shit. And I was just like, I can do that. If she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, that's great.
Right.
And so, to lighten the mood, we need to hear and tell everyone about your pets. And if you can show us any pets, then
we would like to see
do
them.
it up. Yeah, we want to see your pets, please.
Pets.
Good thing I did it on my iPad. I can travel.
Oh, there's Aurora's pet.
Baby!
Oh my goodness.
Oh, look at the
I'm gonna grab my pet.
Come here.
Oh my god, that's so cute! I love huskies.
So cute.
He's a good boy.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, they're all meeting each other.
Pet party.
Look how
The
cute.
best. And then we have this little guy.
Oh my
Aww.
gosh, you'll have dogs and cats. Now I need
So
cats.
cute. Yeah, get some cats. What the heck?
They're kind of chunky.
I love cats.
Used to be just a cat household, and then I got married, and
Yeah, that'll
He's a
do it
dog guy.
sometimes.
so
Oh, we got a couple of cats.
Oh my god, look at those two babies.
That's so cute.
These arms ain't big enough for the two of us.
Aw.
I love it.
This was a great little interlude.
Yeah,
I definitely
really
feel
needed
like
that.
we need to do this from now on. Yeah.
that was amazing.
All right. So you covered so many interesting cases, and we really enjoyed. I'm a big survival story fan. Your episode you did on British Airways Flight 5390. And for our listeners, if you like things like I Survived or survival stories, definitely go check that out. Is there a case that you've researched for the show that you are particularly involved with or still keeps you up at night?
Yeah. So there's actually a few. So one of the cases we covered, we actually took the episode down, but my mom's best friend was murdered. So I covered that one, and my mom actually was able to write to the murderer, because it was her husband.
Wow.
In jail.
Oh
and
my
so
gosh.
that was a personal thing, and we went to her grave where she's buried in Utah. My friend of 25 years, her mom was murdered, and it was never solved. So that was close to home that's always been in my mind since I was 5.
We definitely get on the list.
And then also, I'd say
figure out
Erica
how to
Alonso.
put on.
She was murdered probably by her boyfriend. Not saying for sure. Legally
Allegedly.
I can't say that, but allegedly. He's
Right.
walking free, never seen a day in prison, totally fine.
Which one was this again?
Erica Alonso. She's her friend was in the military with me.
Okay.
So it was 1 degree of separation of
Wow.
from knowing her. So we got to interview her sister and speak on her case and how it's still unsolved. And if you would follow the page, it's Justice for Erica, Voices for Erica. There's so many things for her, but she's
Wow.
it's so sad that she was. It's
I think
not solved,
Crime Junkie did cover it, I think, which I don't really listen to Crime Junkie because again it's just too scripted for my liking, but I love what they do. And there it is.
With Erica in our hearts.
And I'm pretty sure they covered it too. And I was like, okay, this is great. It's actually going to get some fucking movement now. And
right.
Will, I don't even know if a cop has talked to him before. Like, it's
wow.
Allegedly.
This is like
Wow.
It's like you like to think that podcasting, especially when you can really share episodes and really like spread it with the guests and stuff like that, that like at least it's helping to keep some things open and keep some eyes on some cases. But like there's so much to catch up with.
Yeah.
I mean, like there's so much just like negligence or ignorance or like just laziness or like being overwhelmed by other things or but like there's so many things that slip through the cracks that are just like you're like, how could that, like a very obvious murder with a very obvious suspect and like nothing's happening. That just blows my mind the most out of anything I've learned in doing true crime podcasting. But
what in the same thing in the true crime world is if it's not white girl syndrome, then it's also very put on the back burner, and she's not a white girl, and it's just like she fucking matters though, and your suspect is right there. He's literally right there.
So for those who have not been in the podcast space, they might not realize how hard it is to get an episode out each week. What's your research process like?
So I'd say we have pretty similar, but also differing, I don't know, in the way that we do it. I have to, this is going to sound messed up, but I have to like be interested in it for me to take notes on it. I can't just, like, if it's just, how do I say this without
if it's just like
up?
A murder, if it's
one of those boring murders, like
she needs,
like I don't want it to sound like
needs
that.
like the in-depthness of it, like the flight school ones or those type. Like you like to teach things when you're doing true crime.
That's true.
You do.
I do.
Which is why we work so well.
And I love aviation cases. Like,
I love hearing
like did a deep dive on DB Cooper, of course. Did the FedEx flight
I love that one.
735. What is it? 37. I can't remember the numbers, but the FedEx flight where they were attacked mid-flight, flipped a DC-10 and landed it and survived. Like, what the hell? And then you brought up the case of the pilot being sucked out the window. Like, oh my gosh,
so wild.
And those get me. The I survived ones. Those ones are crazy. But actually, your process is a little bit different.
Flight ones, because it's just you see that. Did you see the spark in her when she talked about it? Like, and you get to learn stuff about planes. You're like, what the fuck?
Maybe you should have an aviation podcast.
I was just about to say that.
Start a spinoff.
I've thought about it. I've thought about doing like crime and aviation or something like that. But I have a hard time if I'm just like talking to myself, so it has to be with Ashley again.
Yeah, you got to find another buddy that's into that.
Or you just do aviation cases with me.
There you go.
Yeah,
you both have a spin-off.
Yeah.
You're just both involved in all of it. Like, but like, you ever get that where you're like, you start podcasting and then you're like, what if I started at this podcast and at that podcast? Like, I've seen some people out there where you're like, why do you have 7 podcasts?
After CrimeCon, there was a shirt that said, catch killers, not feelings. Do you remember? Have you ever seen that one? I loved that so much. And I was like, is that a podcast name? And I looked it up. Wasn't a podcast name. Wasn't anything. And I was like, I'm starting my own side podcast because I love that name.
Yeah.
That died out real quick. I need Jamie.
You're like, just trademark this ASAP.
Yeah. After last time's battle, for sure. Yeah.
For me, though, it's documentaries, books, YouTube. I'm very chronological with my cases, and I love the investigation. That year break that we took, where we kind of found ourselves and like found what we like as well. I actually learned, because before it was like the typical, the psychology and the mind of a serial killer. Now I don't give a really flying fuck about them. I love the investigation, and I'm trying to make it a point to always put the detectives' actual names and not just be like the detective. Like I want you to know Gil Carrillo. I want you to know the people that are actually like saving us.
Or the ones who are failing us.
The ones who are dropping the ball too. Yeah, for sure.
There's both sides of the pendulum, either way.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we want to talk more about some other cases that you've been interested in lately. Jamie, you've been really invested in the staircase, which involves the very mysterious 2001 death of Kathleen Peterson in her home in Durham, North Carolina. Kathleen was found dead at the bottom of her staircase after an evening at home with her husband, Michael. Inconsistencies in her death led to Michael's murder conviction in 2003, only to have that conviction vacated in 2011, leading to Michael submitting an alpha plea for voluntary manslaughter in 2017. Jamie, can you tell us what drew you to this case, and have there been any updates we should know about?
Honestly, what draws me to any of the documentaries I watch is the fact that my husband only likes to watch documentaries.
It's so true.
So, I'm over here trying to binge Bridgerton or something, and he's like, no, look at this documentary. So we started watching The Staircase, and I guess he'd seen it before, but I had not. And it brought you in. There were so many different aspects to it. And then in the end, I think the crime was not the staircase and the falling or the previous one. The crime was that he was considered guilty before there was anything to prove he was innocent or guilty.
Which is something too. Yeah. Just a mistrial.
Yeah. Like the misinformation or the using of the incident in Germany, or saying, well, he was a bi individual, so obviously he wasn't in a happy marriage. It's like, you don't know somebody's interworkings of their marriage.
Yeah.
So using those things against someone in court, or trying to have all of this like to build your case, how is that helping with the facts and what's happening right in front of you? And like, for me, the way I see it, her fall, like the bruising on her arms were straight lines. That's consistent with hitting a wall. Maybe she was pushed, but she was not beaten on the stairs. I don't think that happened for sure. And then the fact that the blood spatter analysis was done by some hack job who messed up, 35 other cases, just making up his own way of saying the blood splatter like that. He's
just making it harder for anyone else that's doing blood splatter analysis, because you're just like delegitimizing the whole thing by drawing like ridiculous conclusions.
Yeah, and that's what made after Dexter came out and everybody was all about, it's blood splatter, it's crazy. Everybody started saying, oh, well, that's all fake, it's all, none of that's real. They can't actually
then
solve
what do we
anything.
have?
Yeah. So it's hard to now it's hard to have anybody that you can believe in the public in the justice system, because the judge even said he regretted bringing that information forward. Or you have it's just, there's so many facets to it and so many people with their own opinions that it muddies the facts.
That makes it fascinating on its own. It shows new reasons why cases might not be solved, or why there will be a miscarriage of justice, things that you wouldn't expect to come into play.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Ashley, you've been following the Idaho 4 case, which, for those of you unfamiliar, 4 college students, Madison Mogen, Kaylee Gonzalez, Zaina Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were violently murdered in Moscow, Idaho, in the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022. About a month later, alleged killer Brian Koberger was arrested. Can you tell us more about this case, and where does it stand right now?
Oh, where does it stand? It stands with me being infuriated. Firstly, they demolished the house already. The house that it took place in, the house that they were going to have the jurors come over and walk through and everything, they fucking demolished it. Have no idea why.
Why were they in such a rush?
Exactly. Have no idea why.
How does the family feel about that?
I was going to say, I think it's Maddie's dad. I'm pretty sure it's Madison's dad. They call her Maddie. He's pissed about it. He's like, why the fuck has that happened when the trial hasn't even been set yet?
Wow.
That's insane. So I would like more answers on that, but I highly doubt any of us will get them. But I mean, their reasoning behind it was the Idaho students that are there. They saw it, and it was literally just a reminder of what happened. This town has not had a murder since 2015, and then they had 4 students killed in one night. So it is a huge monumental thing. Build a fucking park on it and make it a beautiful place. But demolishing it before the trial is just insanity. I don't get it.
Well, especially if that's your one claim to fame case in your area, that one thing that everyone's talking about, wouldn't you want to solve it?
Exactly.
Instead of just, getting rid of what could be evidence.
Exactly. Right now they're saying that he would go in this like area, Brian Koberger would go over to this area to hike late at night because he liked to watch the sun and the moon and stars. And now though, they've like kind of, the defense has put in, they're like, we're not saying he wasn't stalking one of them, but he would just go hiking.
Okay.
And it's like, okay. Today ABC put out what's the book called? There's a book coming out. And it's by Howard Bloom, he's written a bunch of nonfiction. He was a reporter for New York Times, and now I think he works for was it Variety? Vanity? One of the V's. Now he works for them, but he's coming out with a book. It's called When the Night Comes Falling, a Requiem for the Idaho Student Murders. And like, I'll get my hands on this book as soon as it comes out, but I just don't understand how it's coming out before the trial.
That's
this whole thing is so
pretty strange.
It's so very messy. And
that doesn't sound like a
my
good
favorite
idea.
part of it, though, is that the judge for this case, his name is John Judge, so they call him Judge.
Nice.
One of my
Judge.
His name is Judge.
Wow, that's great.
I love that so much. And then where it stands right now, the defense is trying to get this to trial in June of 2025. And they're like,
wow.
The judge is kind of, you can kind of tell he's like, we're not, no. But like, he's not saying that, you know what I mean? But you can tell he's like, you have your information. And their tactic right now is just to delay. That's all they're doing, is they're trying to delay it. And I think they know, like, the more like books come out before the trial, the more that is shared, the possibility of him getting off with this is so fucking real. It is terrifying because he allegedly, in my opinion, he did it. Like, there's too many things that add up. But yeah. Every day too.
That's the worst. Like we were talking about with the last case. It's like when things add up and you know exactly what happened, but just for technical reasons and how the judicial system works, like it won't. There isn't something that we can construct against this person. So even though everyone knows, it doesn't get solved officially.
But that's also the other half of the problem. Is that the media knows, the media involvement, and they spin the story to what sounds good, what looks good, the sexy, sex, whatever sells, whatever gets their story on the front page. That's the story they're sticking to, even if it's not real or not proven.
And then that affects the public perception of the whole thing.
Yes. So then how do you find a jury of your peers that's not been, influenced by what they've seen? And then you sequester them, but still, even if there's a question, they've still seen it because you're waiting 2 years to go to trial.
Yeah.
And it's like gets so sensational.
There's that too on like the trial for the jury. The defense is trying to, they're trying to keep it in Idaho, and the other ones are trying to take it out of Idaho so that it's less known, But the defense is like, no, they deserve to know that. They literally said they deserve to know that Brian Koberger is innocent. And I was like, that is, I don't know how these lawyers sleep at night. Like, the evidence is in the pudding. Like, it's there.
Wow. They'll say anything, some of them, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there have been some really good, buzzy true crime TV shows on lately, like Dancing for the Devil, about the alleged TikTok dance call, and Perfect Wife, the mysterious disappearance of Sherry Papini, which I am still yet to see. We'll probably watch that today. What are y'all watching?
So I just finished The Disappearance of Madeleine McCann with my husband, because I had never seen it. And then we also watched the 7M Dancing for the Devil cult as well. And we just watched The Bad Surgeon.
Oh yeah, you like
Dr. Death? Oh, a different one.
So it's
what I said.
Season 2 of Dr. Death focused on the surgeon, but this was just a complete series on him and how he basically had this reporter fall in love with him. He proposed to her and everything, but he was all married the whole time and also killing people with his new practices. It was insane. I don't know how people...
Some of these super productive killers that just dating 5 people, holding up like 7 different identities, murdering people, and like I can't even I don't know, keep my house clean. Like what the hell?
Right?
How are they doing it? What are these brains? So bizarre.
Very.
How bizarre.
What is the TikTok dance cult? This one I'm missing, I guess.
You
guys,
seen
what
it?
is
Whoa, it's on Netflix, Angelina.
It's only 3
I sent this to you.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, I need to catch up then.
That one's wild.
It's
it is
very
still
good.
ongoing too.
It's so wild. It's the one I told you, Angelina. Like, it's all very well done, but I feel like they kind of buried the lead with the whole situation because they're focused on like this girl that's like with the cult that was like famous on TikTok for dancing with her not her twin sister, but her sister.
They look like twins.
And she doesn't want to leave and she's not talking to the family. And that's kind of like the overall story. But then in the second episode, they introduced people who had gone to this guy's church who he was sexually assaulting. And I was like, why are we like, why did you lead with that? Like, that's horrific. Like, why aren't we talking more about like these victims?
I have been screaming this.
The whole thing is like very engaging.
There's multiple sexual allegations, multiple like being accused of raping these women and like taking their money. And like everyone's like all social media is just like focused on getting this girl who's completely brainwashed into staying in this cult away from it. And it's like, no. Homeboy has raped people. Like, there is a deeper issue to this.
Lots of things to focus on.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah, and that's not good. And like, it's certainly possible she's being raped as well.
Exactly.
Because one of the other dancers was. But it's like, I think that's, you know, like the story that should be told, not just that like, they won't talk to their families. Like that sucks. Wow. Like it sucks to have somebody you love being brainwashed, but also like this is
But that's a pretty
big
familiar
problem.
story if you follow any cult stuff at all. So it's like, what's different about this one? Let's focus on those parts, you know?
Yeah.
Interesting.
For me, I have been watching Bose versus the World. I don't know if you've heard of her channel. I think she started on Twitch. And she's just so much fun. She like watches body cam footage on Twitch and just like she's been through a lot of like PTSD through like living in a very religious home and just having alcoholic parents, and she's been through a lot of therapy. She's like I think she's 30 or at least like 29, 30, so around the same age as well. And she just has such good advice while watching this. Like watching these body cam videos and stuff, and it's just so much it's so much fun because you get to like get your true crime dose, but you also kind of heal a little bit from it. And like literally she's gonna go live here at 6:00 for my time. My Monday nights I sit for 3 hours and I watch her live. Like I downloaded Twitch for her. Have you seen American Nightmare?
It sounds familiar.
Is that
What's
the
this
Chris
one about?
Watts?
No, so it's the similar name because I got confused too. It's the one where the girl was kidnapped, but everyone thought, excuse me, that she was faking it, like Sherry Panini.
Whoa.
Yes, I have seen that one.
And
that happened when I was in California, and I remember hearing about this, and oh my gosh, it's so horrific. Like the police
and like
were
watching it, you're like,
yeah,
wait, was she? Because you don't know yet. Like you're watching it in the sense of like, is she faking it? Was she actually kidnapped?
Wow.
And then it really puts it in perspective, like the way things are perceived, that doesn't fucking mean that that's what it is, you know? Because like the entire time I'm like, oh my god, she's another Sherry. She concocted this, like she did this, but no, she was kidnapped, and they like did their thing, and That's a really good one.
Yeah, they were referring to it as like the Gone Girl kidnapping.
Yep.
And then there was like, of course, it was a woman cop that was like, wait, something about this seems like it could be true. Yep. Like maybe we should believe a woman who says she's been raped and kidnapped.
It was literally
and lo and behold, it was. And she
when
found
she came on, and I was like, girl power. I love that cop.
Wow, that's wild.
So wild.
Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. This has been so amazing chatting with you about this stuff. We don't get enough of these moments to just like break down this stuff with fellow true crime weirdos. So thanks so much for all that.
Well, thank you.
Can you let our viewers know where they can find you on social media, elsewise on the internet?
For sure. Thank you guys so much for having us, and thank you all for listening. We are on Instagram and everything at Bloodbath Podcast, and you can find our podcast on every listening possible device, except YouTube, I guess. We don't really do YouTube, but we're on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast from. And then everything is linked on our Instagram as well, and all the posts from our everything we cover, all on our Instagram. So that's where we're most active. We also really
want to start doing like listener episodes. We would love to put those in. So our email is BBTC podcast, Bloodbath True Crime Podcast. And we would love... Where'd you go?
Sorry, 1 second. I've lost my...
What was that? I heard it, but I didn't see it.
What's Vader doing?
My cat jumped.
I thought it was a cat.
Cord. Yeah. I'm back. Sorry.
But yeah,
was it Igor? Is Igor upset she's not in the episode?
No, it was Dolly. Okay. She wants more screen time.
Evidently, so did mine. But yeah, BBTC podcast. Yes. Send listener episodes, and we adapted to Spooky Time as well, and so. Any type of cases, as long as it ends with a good. We always end our episodes with something good that's been happening in life. Well, most of the time, if we don't forget.
That's great.
But and then we've been thinking about starting a Twitch channel. And by we, I mean mostly I, and then I'd force Jamie to do it with me. But I'd really like it. So we might be on Twitch soon.
Keep your eyes open for that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And if you need any stories for Spooky Time, I'd be happy to come on and talk about the house that I'm living in that is currently haunted.
I love that.
Yes.
I'm surprised the ghost has not made an appearance during this episode because they've been very active.
I think I need a vacation.
Wow. Oh my God.
Come stay
to her spooky house. Yeah,
come stay. Come stay. I have a second room and
get the spirit box and stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah.
I have my tarot cards. Like, let's communicate with whatever this is. My friend thinks
we'll just have Jamie on Zoom so that she doesn't have to actually be like.
You guys have a spooky good
I'm
time.
So down. Wait, let me show you something real quick. This is my haunted doll, but it hasn't done anything yet.
Okay.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I love a
wait,
haunted
does
doll.
she have a haunted doll on purpose?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Ashley,
spooky.
what are you doing?
Very spooky.
I found her at a thrift store. She has no eyes, as you can see. I named her Dolly, which is funny because Dolly.
Like my cat.
Like your cat.
She's very cursed.
I actually have a fear of these fuckers.
It is
rightfully
horrifying.
So. Rightfully so.
I had a doll that looked similar to that, like, but she had eyes. But like, she was like my mom's friend was doing these things where she'd make like a big like crochet dress of the doll, so like it would be sitting in its giant dress. And so she gave this to me, and like I had to have it on display in my bedroom, or it was rude. And like this thing was horrifying. Like every day I'm going to bed, like, oh my God,
over
it moved.
They're so scary.
I was actually out in Texas and we were at a thrift store and I saw her, and the reason why I think she's haunted is because I got emotional and I was like, I can't leave without this.
Oh,
for some reason.
That's weird.
But
she's just
I
like
talk to her
attached
every
to
once
you.
and I'm like, hey, if you're nice, it's all good.
Don't murder me.
I'm gonna go ahead and say that was a very bad idea.
Yeah, that was a weird call, but hey.
Someone's got to take care of those haunted dolls.
Yes. They only want
They need love too.
All right. Well, I guess that is enough true crime for 1 week. If you just can't get enough MMN, you can find us on all the socials.
You can find us on Instagram at MMN True Crime, on Twitter at M Murder News, TikTok, MMN True Crime, and our Facebook just by searching for Murdered and Missing News.
And while you're there, you can also join our Facebook group, which will also pop up when you search for Murdered and Missing News.
If you like what you've been hearing or seeing each week on the podcast and YouTube, let us know by leaving us a comment, like, subscribe, and maybe even go the extra mile and leave our show a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. We appreciate the feedback.
Have a great week. See you next Friday.
Bye, spooky friends. Bye.